This story, we first aired it last night at 10 o'clock. It really resonated with a lot of people around North Texas. Joining us right now to talk more about this is Chaplain Steve Calvert, because, you know, you really have to dig deep into this to see the root of what causes people to kind of go silent on the job when they're really struggling. And you've been around for a long time. You've seen a lot of this. You've been through it yourself. You've gone out on calls as an EMT, as a firefighter over the years, and you've struggled personally.
Yeah.
And so now you're a chaplain and you're trying to help people who are still going through the struggles, who still go out on these calls. How much does it help that you have been there and seen it and done it?
Well, the whole peer support help with firefighters is the biggest thing, is having somebody that's been there, that's tasted it, that's smelt it, that's touched it, that has felt the danger, to be able to sit down with another firefighter and say, hey, I've been there. Talk to me. Because
you can't pretend to know what it's like unless you've actually been there. You were talking to me during the story there about how, in fact, you've seen counselors who weren't prepared for some of these stories.
Most counselors that are not trauma counselors, and that's why all of my guys would go to a trauma specialist. And we try to raise up trauma chaplains for that, to do diffusing. But yeah, we've had EAP counselors faint. We've had them throw up. We've had them get up and run out of the room and in the treatment. And that's just hearing one story from one firefighter. And he's got hundreds of those piling up.
And so you're a big advocate. I know that you can help people individually, but you're a big advocate of these people being able to help themselves at the fire station on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
Too. What is it that you sort of call for? What do you push for and advocate for?
I'd love for every captain to be CISM or critical incident stress management trained, because a lot of times when we get back to the firehouse after a bad call, the captain's the one who could have that conversation around the table before everybody goes to bed or before everybody goes about their business.
But everybody goes into their corners generally.
Yeah, and a lot of departments will call me to come in after a bad call and have that conversation. But to do a defuse, what we call diffusing back at the firehouse would take 10 minutes with the captain leading that conversation, if he knows how to steer the conversation.
Where everyone can let those emotions out, at least put them on the table. But it's still seen as a sign of weakness in a lot of cases to admit that maybe you need some help here. Do you think that this suicide helps to finally change that? Do you think that something will change because of this?
Well, we have far too many suicides, documented one every 3 days. And the guy that's doing the main research for that, Jeff Dill, using a government grant, said he's getting about 30% of the data, because 70% of firefighters in this country are volunteers. So if there's a death, occupation doesn't go under firefighter for most of them. So the rate is really high, and I'm hoping that this exposure will help. We've changed the industry just in the last 4 years. And now most trade magazines will have an article, whereas 4 years ago, nothing about this.
So maybe locally this will be a big wake-up call.
Yes, but this is going on all across the country, and this isn't the first for this area.
Really stunning, something that most people never even think about, but so true that so many of these things that are seen and experienced on the job every day, they can't leave behind at work like so many of us have the luxury of doing with our different jobs. Thanks for being on with us today.
Jason.
Really appreciate it.